House yesterday took a major step toward potentially banning TikTok over national security concerns. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Hake reports.
For social media giant TikTok, an uncertain future this morning as a bill calling for the company to split from its Chinese parent company or be shut down now heads to the Senate. The U.S. House on Wednesday, in a rare and overwhelmingly bipartisan vote, passing the measure that requires TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell the app within 6 months. Republican Mike Gallagher wrote the bill. What do you say to people who just fundamentally don't understand why the app where they watch silly dance videos is a national security threat?
The possibility for dangerous propaganda is too immense to allow one of our foremost adversaries to have this control over what is increasingly becoming the dominant news platform in America.
Lawmakers and national security experts have long been concerned with ByteDance's ties to the Chinese Communist Party, which many believe can and does store data from American users, partly because of a national security law that requires Chinese companies to share data and other information with the government.
The reason that is valuable to the Chinese Communist Party is that it begins to allow them to know how to influence Americans.
In its annual threat assessment, the U.S. intelligence community says China used TikTok in the 2022 midterms, warning it could do so again in this fall's presidential election. TikTok has repeatedly denied any connections to the Chinese government, with the company's CEO responding to the House vote late Wednesday.
We will continue to do all we can, including exercising our legal rights, to protect this amazing platform.
Just 65 House members, mostly Democrats, opposed the bill.
It's an overly broad bill that I don't think will withstand First Amendment scrutiny. The other issue is that there are a lot of people who make their livelihoods on this,
including creators like J.T. Laybourne.
It is 100% of our income. It's how I feed my wife and 3 children.
Even some who support a divestment see a double-edged sword in an election year, with more than 20% of American voters using TikTok at least once a day.
Cutting out a large group of young voters is not the best known strategy for re-election.
So, NBC's Garrett Hake reporting on that. Joining us now is one of the Democrats who co-authored the TikTok bill, Congressman Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. He's a ranking member of the House Select Committee on China.
Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. What message do you think was sent to the Communist Chinese Party? Why was it important that that message got sent?
I think the message was that, look, the American people enjoy TikTok, and we in Congress want the platform to continue to operate. But we want ByteDance to divest its vast majority of ownership of TikTok. This was not a ban. It was a divestment bill. And it's really not about TikTok. It's about ByteDance. Just so your viewers know, ByteDance is a Chinese company that has 100% ownership of TikTok. And the editor-in-chief of ByteDance is the secretary of the Chinese Communist Party cell embedded at the highest ranks of ByteDance to make sure that all products of ByteDance, including TikTok, adhere to, quote, correct political direction. And so that is why we are asking for the divestment of TikTok.
Well, I mean, they push propaganda. I mean, posts that sow confusion in the United States and undermine America's interests somehow go viral. But if you, let's say, decide to post anything on Uyghurs or Hong Kong or other issues about human rights, suddenly those won't go viral. In fact, they won't see the light of day. I'm wondering, from what you've heard from your Senate colleagues, do you have hope that they will do the right thing and stop allowing the Communist Chinese Party to spy on Americans, to push propaganda on Americans, and use algorithms to impact our elections negatively?
Yes, we've had many positive conversations. Obviously, we want to respect the process that Leader Schumer has for taking up this bill. But I think there's a lot of interest. And I got to say, what TikTok did last week and in its lobbying campaigns have really backfired and caused more people to support our bill, including in both chambers. Just as an example, on the morning of the vote in the House Energy and Commerce Committee to take up this bill, TikTok sent out a push notification and pop-up on millions of users' phones using geolocation data of minor children to get them to call their members of Congress in order to continue accessing content on TikTok. These minor children flooded our offices with phone calls and asked questions like, what's a congressman? What is Congress? One person said, one person impersonated a member of Congress's son to be able to get his TikTok back. And this type of influence campaign is exactly what this bill was intended to address and what got people so upset about TikTok.
Congressman, good morning. For all the valid criticisms you make of TikTok, and we've all seen them all, we're aware of them, what do you make of the argument about the First Amendment? We're hearing from many of your progressive colleagues there who voted against this bill, though it did pass overwhelmingly on a bipartisan basis, that this will not pass scrutiny, that this could be a 9-0 vote in the Supreme Court if it makes it up that high on First Amendment grounds.
I take their concerns seriously. About half the Progressive Caucus ended up voting for this bill. And the reason why is simple. They know there's no First Amendment right to espionage or First Amendment right to harm our national security. The First Amendment covers speech, not conduct, and certainly not anybody's right, including the Chinese Communist Party's, to somehow use the platform to do harm to Americans. And so I think that is why, working with the Biden administration, we came up with language that was not a ban, but rather a divestment to ensure that we address the legitimate First Amendment rights and concerns of users while at the same time addressing our national security concerns.
So, Congressman, though, to that point, we've certainly heard the opposition suggest it's not just being dubious of some of the national security concerns, raising awareness about the First Amendment, but just also saying this is unprecedented, saying that this is a step that the Congress has never taken before. What is your response to that? Do they feel like this could be the beginning of a slippery slope?
This is not without precedent. That's incorrect. The best example is the LGBTQ app Grindr. Grindr was owned by a Chinese company. And once it became clear that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, had access to sensitive data about LGBTQ members of the U.S. government and military, they were forced to divest. They did so very quickly because the app was very valuable, much like TikTok, and there was no disruption to users. And that's what we would expect in this case as well.
All right, Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. We will continue this conversation. Lots of debate around it. We appreciate you coming on this morning. Thank you.